Right now at 6, his fields are filled with crops, but one farmer on the Central Coast can't find anyone to harvest them.
We've never had as bad a situation with labor as we have recently.
How the fear of ice rays is leaving produce to rot. Plus a brief break in the rain, but we're tracking several rounds of wet weather on the way. And 3 schools set to close in Vallejo because of budget troubles. One mother tells us she feels betrayed by the decision. And later, hydrogen-powered car owners taking Toyota to court. We'll meet some North Bay drivers who say the lack of infrastructure is leaving people like them stranded.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook in for Juliette tonight. Fields full of perfectly good produce are going largely unharvested this holiday season. One farmer tells us the ramped up immigration raids across the country are scaring workers away from this year's harvest. Our Scott Rates went to Hollister on the Central Coast to look at how the worker shortage is taking a toll and how it could lead to higher prices for us.
These farms feed America.
Here, what we're looking for, this is an actual broccoli down here. Yes, that will be heart-wrenching to see that turn into a beautiful product and then to just have to walk away from it.
Tony Sereno owns Jazz Family Farms Organics in Hollister.
I was brought here since I was 3 and grew up on a farm.
Holding rotten eggplant, he is frustrated. Tony says nowadays that his farm sometimes leaves behind at least 90% of their crops.
Because we don't have enough staff.
Tony tells me that because his farms in Hollister and Watsonville are off the main roads, that it's adding to the workers' anxiety.
We're very exposed here to just traffic in general. And of course, it leaves everybody with the fear that at any moment, the ice can just come in and start to raid the fields.
During a normal harvest season, Tony would have anywhere from 150 to 200 workers in these fields. He says now that's down to 20 or fewer on some days.
We need to protect our food supply. We need to ensure that no one is afraid to go to work, especially doing something like this. Farm work is extremely hard, if not one of the hardest jobs.
Fear has been growing through the agricultural industry. There have been some high-profile immigration raids, including one at a cannabis farm in Ventura County over the summer, where federal agents clashed with protesters. So, as more ag workers stay home, what does that mean for your local produce aisle?
It does start here. If we reduce the amount of production for whatever reason, you're going to notice that there's less of. Anytime there's less supply and the same demand, the prices are going to go high.
As for the crops being hit the hardest?
We lost an entire field, just about, of chiles, of jalapeno peppers, serranos. There were some cherry bombs, some beautiful stuff.
You got to think there's hope out there because, I mean, people have to eat in this country.
That's what I believe in. I don't know what other people believe, but and that's what keeps me going, is there's got to be a change. This will turn around because people have to continue to eat.
Serrano says that as bad as it is now, he has even more uncertainty about production for next year's harvest season. Meanwhile, the California Farm Bureau had a message for farm workers feeling the anxiety over immigration raids. They say, we understand the uncertainties some might feel right now, and we want to be absolutely clear. California's farmers stand with you. We respect you, we value you, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that agriculture remains a place where you are safe and supported. Richmond's mayor is issuing a public apology amid accusations that he's spreading anti-Semitic propaganda online. Eduardo Martinez said he shared previous posts without thinking. But the Jewish Community Relations Council wants him to resign, saying he demonstrated an alarming and ongoing pattern of conduct. One example, a repost on LinkedIn suggesting the terror attack on Australia's Bondi Beach last week was a, quote, false flag attack from Israel, and saying Israel is trying to manufacture fear and hate. The JCRC is also accusing the mayor of wearing a hat with an acronym that called for death to the Israel Defense Forces. Now, in his apology on LinkedIn yesterday, Mayor Martinez says, quote, "Of course we know that anti-Semitism was here before the creation of the state of Israel. As I've said many times before, we should not conflate Zionism with Judaism. They are two separate beliefs," and goes on to say, "Once again, I apologize for posting in haste without full understanding of the posting." But the JCRC says that apology is just not enough. We just heard from the organization's senior director of government affairs, who says he wants the mayor out and the council to censure him for his remarks.
It is very clear the mayor of Richmond is an anti-Semite, he's a disgrace, and he's unfit to hold office. This is not a one-off issue. This is part of a pattern that he has demonstrated over the years of his time at the city.
Now, this is not the first time Jewish groups have taken issue with Mayor Martinez. Back in 2023, 2 weeks after the October 7th Hamas attack in Israel, he led the Richmond City Council in passing a ceasefire resolution that also accused Israel of ethnic cleansing and did not condemn Hamas. We have reached out to the mayor for an interview and have not heard back. All right, let's turn now to the weather. Another dry one today after yesterday's rain broke our weeks-long dry spell. But there is more wet weather on the way. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan, who's tracking the timing of what will be a series of storms. Paul?
Yeah, the next one is lining up less than 24 hours from now. We've been in the same pattern for the past several weeks where the majority of the rain has been staying well to our north. That is the case once again this evening. They were getting soaked at the Rams-Seahawks game in Seattle, but some of this moisture is going to be directed closer to the California coastline and the Bay Area as we head through the next several days. So let's take a bit of a closer look at just the California-wide map and check out Futurecast. This takes us through 10 o'clock on Saturday morning and see that rain making its way farther to the south and moving across the Bay Area tomorrow into tomorrow night. But as soon as it moves out, another wave of moisture is going to start moving in. And this is going to be the trend that repeats itself. Kind of hard to separate where one system ends and the next one begins. And it is a unsettled pattern that's going to carry us all the way through Christmas week. Here are the day-by-day rain chances from tomorrow through Christmas Day. Every day, there's at least a chance of showers, and there are going to be pockets of heavy rain embedded within this. Several successive atmospheric rivers, most of which are going to be weak to moderate on the atmospheric river scale. But when you have back-to-back-to-back atmospheric rivers, their combined impact is going to be that of an AR4, which is close to the top of the scale. And that's when we're concerned about them becoming increasingly hazardous as opposed to being just beneficial in terms of total rainfall. We're going to track tomorrow's rain in more detail. A closer look at the Bay Area coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
Paul, thank you for that. And of course, we'll continue tracking this rainy weather as it moves across the Bay. You can stay with us on air, streaming on the free CBS News app and on our website, kpix.com. Turning now to Vallejo, where hundreds of families just found out their children will be moving to new schools next year. The Vallejo City Unified School District voted to shut down 3 elementary schools after this academic year: Highland, Lincoln, and Pennycook. This comes as the district is facing a multi-million-dollar deficit, and there are broad cuts coming beyond the campus closures. Our Kara St. Cyr looks at the impact.
You ready? All righty, sister.
This will be the last school year Sandra Cruz picks her daughter up from Lincoln Elementary.
You build family with your school, your kid get used to it, and then you have to rip them from that.
Vallejo City Unified School District officials unanimously voted Wednesday to close Lincoln, along with Pennycook and Highland Elementary. The closures will affect at least 1,000 students and more than 100 staff members.
It breaks my heart.
Cruz, whose daughter needs special speech classes, is concerned.
I feel like they're closing the wrong schools.
Superintendent Ruban Fernandez says the closures were necessary to keep the district afloat.
We've been in decline for many, many years. A district that was once over 20,000 students is under 10,000.
Declining enrollment is contributing to a projected budget deficit of about $26 million. The district closed 2 other schools and cut 75 staff positions earlier this year. And Wednesday night, officials took action to eliminate more than 200 positions for next school year.
It's stressful for everyone.
Kevin Steele, president of the Vallejo Education Association, says they're hoping to place teachers impacted by the 3 elementary school closures at other schools.
We've been working on this since August, maybe a little bit before August. So we have known that this was coming.
But concerned parents like Cruz hope next year will be more stable.
It'd be nice to be heard, to be listened to, because I really do feel like they're falling, like all of our pleas are falling on deaf ears.
It will take a bit of time before impacted students will actually find out where they are attending school next year. The superintendent says the district will redraw residential boundaries next month, and parents also have the chance to apply for transfers if they don't like where their kids are placed. A Vallejo high school employee was arrested today after police say he tried to solicit sexual acts from a student. Police say 26-year-old Reuben Carter Freeman confiscated the female student's phone and wouldn't let her leave the classroom until she performed sexual acts that he wanted. Officers say the student was let go only after she gave in to some of his demands. Freeman was later arrested on charges including soliciting lewd acts in public and false imprisonment. The district says Freeman has now been placed on administrative leave and that it's fully cooperating with investigators. In San Francisco, the search is on for the suspect who hit and killed a man yesterday evening and then took off. Citizen app video shows emergency crews arriving at the scene. This happened on Mission Street in the city's outer Mission neighborhood. No word on the identity of the victim. Police have not provided any details about the driver or vehicle as of yet as well. Well, still ahead here at 6, it could be a cautionary tale for early adopters. Why hundreds of hydrogen-powered car owners are taking Toyota to court.
I'm stuck. I can't drive my car home because then I won't be able to make it back to the gas station.
So you're stuck here?
I'm stuck, literally stuck here.
Plus, an early Christmas gift for North Bay commuters, how Caltrans is backing down on recent carpool lane changes the drivers blame for much longer commute times.
Coming up at 7, Miss Blue joins us in studio. She is a digital double of a real blue whale that washed ashore in the Bay Area. Meet the team that brought her back to life.
Caltrans is backing off a controversial plan to extend HOV hours on Highway 101 in Marin and Sonoma counties. In September, Caltrans extended the hours from 5 to 10 in the morning and 3 to 7 in the afternoon. Drivers have been complaining ever since, saying the change has made their commutes longer. Next year, the extended hours of HOV lanes will be reduced. The permanent hours will be decided by the end of January, and the changes are set to take effect in February. Now, when electric cars were first being marketed, there was a lot of concern about chargers being readily available. Remember that? And a lot of those concerns have been alleviated as more charging stations came online. But that's not the case for those who bought vehicles powered by hydrogen fuel cells. And as John Ramus reports, now a group of owners are suing over cars that they say have become virtually worthless.
California has led the way in promoting zero-emission vehicles, and the technology for them has improved greatly over the years. But there is one vehicle that is providing a cautionary tale for early adopters. It's called the Mirai, the Japanese word for future. Toyota debuted the car in 2016 when there were only about 20 refueling stations in the state.
We've made the car, and now we just need a few more stations to make it work.
But now, almost 10 years later, there still aren't many stations around. Malcolm Boehm waited at a broken pump in Mill Valley, the only hydrogen filling station in all of Marin County.
I'm stuck. I can't drive my car home because then I won't be able to make it back to the gas station.
So you're stuck here?
I'm stuck, literally stuck here.
The Mirai is marketed as an emission-free vehicle, but the hydrogen is created by burning natural gas, so it is not a carbon-free technology. But it is the lack of fuel availability that has prompted 700 Mirai owners to sue Toyota.
About 15,000 people bought this car, and they were sold over the period of about 9 years, and the stations have progressively nosedived to the point where in San Francisco, there is no fuel in San Francisco. You have to cross a bridge or go to another county, for example, to get fuel. So people are not using the car. And as I mentioned before, if you don't use the car for 7 days, the battery dies.
Jason Ingber filed the lawsuit on the owner's behalf. He says he advised his clients to stop paying on their cars when he got this letter from a Toyota attorney promising that no action would be taken. But he says since then, many have been plagued with phone calls and messages from collection agencies with damaging results to their credit scores.
And at the end of the day, the mechanical defects of the car prevent people from using it. The lack of fuel prevent people from using it. And people are left holding this $50,000 paperweight in their driveway that Toyota knows they can't use and are now being harshly debt collected on and credit reported on, and in some cases even repoed on.
Zachary Sherry wishes he hadn't paid cash for his used 2021 Mirai. He's lucky that he lives fairly close to the Mill Valley filling station, but he knows that he's now stuck with a car that most people will never want.
It's just frustrating. It's like, okay, what am I going to do with this car after, I get rid of it? There's no market. Nobody's going to repair it. It has an actual expiration date on it when you can't refuel it.
That's right. Just like a bottle of milk, the Mirai actually has an expiration date printed inside the fuel door. Zachary says do not refuel after 2036. He's joined the lawsuit as a way to get Toyota to take responsibility for the Mirais it continues to sell.
I'm not looking for any huge payout or anything. It's just the vehicle is totally worthless.
You basically want them to buy this back from you.
If they will, that would be great. But at the end of the day, I'll take anything because I'm going to wind up having to dispose of the vehicle.
Now, we reached out to Toyota for comment about the lawsuit, but have not yet gotten a response. Well, it is a very lively night in San Francisco, where large crowds have showed up for tonight's Third Thursday block party. This is a live look at the event just outside of John's Grill on Ellis Street. More than 10,000 electronic dance music fans have RSVP'd to see dubstep icon Wooly. He's set to take the stage up. Is he coming on right now? Well, he's set to take the stage at 8:35 tonight. Meantime, John's Grill is also hosting a toy drive. They're encouraging everyone to come on out and donate a new toy that's unwrapped. Coming up, how Richmond police help make this holiday season one to remember for dozens of local kids. We're following breaking news out of the East Coast right now. Investigators getting ready to give an update on their manhunt for the suspect who killed 2 people at Brown University. CBS News sources say the suspect was found dead in a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire. We're going to keep you updated as we learn more and bring you this press conference live when it happens. For now, let's send it over to Paul with a look at our weather. It's about to get really rainy, Paul.
About to get into a wet pattern because we have the first in a series of atmospheric rivers that's going to be aiming this plume of moisture towards the California coastline and the Bay Area as we head through the day tomorrow. And once this sets up, it's not like that atmospheric river train is really going to wobble around a whole lot. There are going to be pulses of moisture headed towards us all the way through Christmas Day. So it's really going to be hard to pin down where one storm system ends and the next one begins. But let's focus on how this first one is going to behave as we head through the day tomorrow. Put some labels on the map so you can keep your bearings as we cover it up with the radar simulation. This is Futurecast from 6 o'clock through noon tomorrow. And you see the majority of the rain initially is concentrated over the North Bay. That's usually the way these systems initially develop and move into the Bay Area. Let's wind the clock forward from noon through 6 p.m. We're talking about light to moderate rain showers. It's not going to be enough to really have any kind of potential for flooding, but it is enough to complicate the afternoon commute, especially since a lot of people are going to be hitting the roads trying to get a jump on the pre-Christmas weekend, a busy time for travel. Let's go from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening through midnight, and this first batch of showers moves out, and it kind of looks like, well, we're going to be winding down a little bit. But watch what happens from midnight through 10 a.m. Saturday. That second wave of moisture starts to move in, and we're going to start the day pretty wet on Saturday. This is a shift from the way the forecast was looking. 24 hours ago, it looked like Saturday might bring us a little break from the shower activity, and is not looking like the case anymore. So this is continuing to be an evolving situation. We're going to keep you updated kind of on a day-by-day basis. This first wave of rainfall, highly variable amounts. The farther south you go, the less you're going to pick up, barely more than a trace for San Jose, but close to an inch of total rainfall for parts of the North Bay, especially once that second surge of moisture starts to move in Friday night into early Saturday. And we are far from done. There is more rain in the forecast Saturday night into Sunday. Gradually, that starts to shift a little bit north again, just a little bit of a wiggle. There's going to be a dry break that's going to be very brief that kind of develops. This forecast model, this is the European model, says by Tuesday afternoon, but that's just the atmosphere kind of winding up for another punch that's going to be heading our way by Tuesday night into Christmas Eve. And this is going to be accompanied by some of the gustiest winds, and it looks like Christmas Day is going to be pretty rainy, and the snow levels are going to be finally dropping in the Sierra as well. You add up all these rain chances. This is the 7-day rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, which does take us through Christmas Day. We're talking about 4 to 8+ inches of rain across the Bay Area, again, coming at us in these different surges, but as we add up this much rain in a 7-day time frame, that eventually becomes too much, and we're going to have to watch for the increasing likelihood of localized flooding at least, and the potential for some wind damage as the gustiest winds develop by Tuesday night into Wednesday. Already with that kind of second surge of moisture Saturday night into Sunday, we're looking at an elevated threat of excessive rainfall, the way that the Weather Prediction Center phrases it. That means the flash flooding risk is already going to be going up in that time frame. Do want to get to our adoptable dog of the day for tomorrow's dog walking forecast. This is Sandy, who is adoptable from the East County Animal Shelter in Dublin. Hope she can soak up a little bit of dry weather early today tomorrow. It is going to be in a short supply as we head through the next several days. Here is the 7-day forecast, and eventually we're going to start outlining some of these days as first alert days, but because the details the farther down the line would look a little bit fuzzy, can't do that just yet, but we are going to be keeping you updated, especially as we get closer to Christmas and a lot of folks want to hit the roads. It looks like rain and wind will be major factors both Wednesday and Thursday.
We're keeping an eye on this breaking news out of Providence, Rhode Island right now, where investigators are getting ready to give an update on the manhunt for the suspect who killed 2 people at Brown University. CBS News sources say that suspect was found dead in a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire. We're going to keep you updated as we learn more, and when this press conference happens, we'll bring it to you live. But before we leave you tonight, we want to take you to Richmond, where dozens of kids got to pick out what they want to have under the Christmas tree this year. This morning, the Richmond Police Activities League held their annual Shop with a Cop event. More than 60 kids joined in, all with some extra cash in their pockets as well. Each one of the children were picked for showing great character at home and in the classroom. Well, CBS Evening News is next right here on KPIX. We're going to keep an eye on that press conference expected to start in Providence, Rhode Island any moment now, with an update on the search for the suspect in the Brown University shootings, as well as a possible connection to the murdered teacher at MIT. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area, and on the CBS News app. We're back here in 30 minutes with the CBS News Bay Area at 7.